Hey, hey, hey. Hey, welcome back to another Tech Support Spy video. As always, we appreciate you guys tuning in to our channel and watching our videos. All right, we're going to talk about computer RAM in this video. So if you learned something from this video, go ahead and like, comment below, and share this video with others as we talk about computer RAM in this video. All right, is your computer slow like a Nissan Sentra? And you are thinking about upgrading your RAM to make your computer or your Windows computer faster, whether it's a desktop computer or whether it's a laptop computer. Are you thinking about upgrading your RAM to make it perform better and run faster, but you don't know how much RAM you can put into your computer? Do you want to know how much RAM your Windows PC, whether it's a desktop or laptop, can handle? I'm going to show you in this video what command that you can run to give you the maximum RAM capacity that your computer, desktop or laptop, can handle. Let's dive into the video. All right, guys. So we're going to talk about your RAM here and kind of want to help you understand a little bit about your RAM, whether it's, again, desktop or a laptop. I got some RAM here. These are some old RAMs. I got a newer motherboard, but we want to just talk about RAM in your desktop, which is this stick of RAM here. This is old RAM right here. And this is a laptop motherboard with RAM sticks here. Those are usually called SODIMMs. There's a video that I'll have at the top here that you can click on to learn more about your RAM, understand the difference between SODIMMs, which is for your laptops, and your DIMMs, which is for your desktop RAM. And I explain the difference between the two and how they work. All right, so let's talk about RAM here. So I don't want to like confuse you guys, the viewers is watching this, but we're going to talk about megabytes, gigabytes, and bytes, right? So I don't want to get into that talk of 8 bits equals 1 byte. I'll just confuse. But one of the things that you want to understand when it comes to RAM, you just want to understand just the capacity and how it works, right? Look at the RAM capacity. Usually, we used to start off with the 4 gigs of RAM, and then we went up to 8 gigs of RAM, 16 gigs of RAM, 32 gigs of RAM, 64, 128, 256, 512, and 1024, or 1024 gigabytes. If you look at this, right, each gigabytes are being doubled: 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. More computers nowadays, laptops or desktops, depending on what type of computer it is. If it's a gaming PC, it'll probably have automatically come with 16 gigs of RAM. If it's a regular, PC that's not a gaming PC, it may come with 8 gigs. You can always upgrade your laptop or desktop to put more RAM capacity into it to give you more performance, more speed, and helping your processor process the instructions that you're telling it to do. Whether you're opening up a Word document, where you're opening up Microsoft Edge to go to your email or go to Outlook or to go to Facebook, all that is your processor processing those instructions with your RAM helping the processor to process those instructions. Basically, what happens when you open up a program, it goes into the memory stores it and pushes it out to the CPU to process those instructions, and your program opens up. And all this happens in milliseconds. All right. So as you look at this chart here, understand your RAM has like storage units, right? That helps the processor be able to process instructions. So it's storing, in your RAM those instructions and then pushing it out to the CPU. So as you look at this, right, you can view kilobytes, right, as pretty much 1,000 storage units, right? I mean, you look at megabytes. Megabytes represents a million, so that represents a million storage units in your RAM stick. And then your gigabytes represents a billion storage units in your memory RAM stick. So if you have 1 gigabyte, right, that's basically 1 billion of storage units in that RAM that it can store. So when you're looking at, 4 gigabytes, that means it has 4 gigabytes, 4 billion storage units in that RAM stick to be able to help your processor process RAM. If you're looking at a gaming PC that has 64 gigabytes, that means it has 64 billion storage units in those RAM sticks to be able to help your processor process or the instructions. So when you look at kilobytes, that's going to be the 1,000 storage units that's on your RAM stick. Most of the RAM sticks nowadays are in gigabytes, or they are in the millions of storage units. But if you look at just from a thousand or just from a kilobyte perspective, that's 1,024 bytes, right? But when you double that, right, when you do 124 kilobytes times 124 kilobytes, that's going to basically get you 1,048,576 storage units for just 1 gigabyte or 1 megabyte. Apologize for that, but it's a megabyte. And then if you triple your kilobytes, 1,024 kilobytes by 3, then you get 1,073,741,824 gigabytes for just 1 gigabyte. So understand that. But again, the main thing you want to focus on and look at is this here. Again, 4, 8, 16, you just double it, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1,024 gigabytes. So you got to look at what sticks that you need, right? So if you want to look to get, if your motherboard can support it, if you want to do 124 gigabytes of RAM on your motherboard, right, you're going to need 8 sticks of 128 gigabytes. So you're going to need 8 sticks. Hopefully your motherboard has 8 RAM slots that can handle 8 sticks of 120 gigabytes apiece. And that's how you can calculate 124 gigabytes of RAM. If you need something that has a motherboard that can do 64 gigabytes, how many sticks do you need to do 64 gigabytes on a motherboard? You just need two 32 gig sticks, right? 32 plus 32. You double 32 gives you 64 gigs of RAM for your PC. Is it all making sense? Let's show you what command you can run to see what's your maximum RAM that your PC can handle. All right, guys. This is the command that you can run in your PowerShell or your terminal command prompt to be able to see what's your maximum RAM that your PC can handle. So, how do you get there? Is you're going to use this and go down to your start menu. Your start menu is always going to be that 4 squared window pane from Microsoft, and you're going to right click on it. And understand you can do this on Windows 10 as well as Windows 8, Windows 7. It's just a standard Windows DOS command. Windows DOS has been around since Windows was created. So I'm going to choose Terminal Admin. If you may have PowerShell Admin, choose that. Of course, you want to allow the changes, hit yes. And then as your DOS screen comes up, I'm going to adjust this here. All right. I'll have this command in the description. You can just copy and paste it into your PowerShell or your terminal admin DOS screen, but just copy it, right? And just paste it. Put the cursor on that line where it's blinking and paste it there. Is basically saying your memory physical hit the max capacity for your RAM, and hit enter. And I basically get 67,108,864 kilobytes, right? So we're doing 67 million, right, kilobytes. So at that point, the 67 million kilobytes is getting into the billions, right? I have basically 67 gigabytes of RAM capacity that the command is showing back to me that I'm able to max out on this computer. So when you look at the chart here, 67 gigabytes is closer to 64 gigabytes. And I know it might be confusing, like, well, if it says the 67 gigabytes, why isn't it 67 gigabytes? And again, it can be a little confusing, but again, by kilobytes and how bytes are measured, it starts at 124. So it's always going to be, when you do a true calculation of your kilobytes, megabytes, and gigabytes, it's not going to read out 64 gigabytes, 128 gigabytes. It's always going to be more, but you have to look at what the calculation is coming back to you saying, and then you have to determine what RAM capacity is closer to what the calculation in my bytes are reading in the command. 67 kilobytes is closer to 64 gigabytes. So it's telling you basically my computer can max out at 64 gigabytes of RAM. Let's give you another example. So here's an example here, right? So let's say your command brought back the max of 8,388,608 megabytes or kilobytes. So when you look at that, even though it's over that 8 gigabyte memory capacity threshold, what memory capacity threshold does it most likely meet or is most closer to? 8 gigabytes is what this would be closer to. 8,388,608 kilobytes is more closer to 8 gigabytes. So that's basically telling you your computer can only support up to a maximum of 8 gigabytes, right? So when you do this calculation, some of you may get like 37,867,000. I'm just throwing out numbers. But if it comes back saying 37 million, right, in the command, what is that closer to? 37 million kilobytes is closer to 32 gigs. So 32 gigs of RAM would be the maximum capacity of RAM that you can have installed in your desktop or your Windows laptop when you run this command. So understand this chart here. I'll have a little bit of this memory capacity chart in the description as well. But play around with this command. Copy this command into your Windows PowerShell or your terminal admin and see what your maximum RAM capacity that your computer can handle. And then go upgrade. Go upgrade your computer to that RAM so you can have the best performance out of that PC. If you want me to do a video on how to upgrade your RAM, comment below. Let me know that you guys are enjoying this content and that you want to see me do more. Let me know if you want me to do a video of upgrading your RAM, whether it's a laptop or a desktop. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something. Please like this video if you like the content. Comment below. Share this video with everyone. And thank you for watching Tech Support. Bye.